Hi, this is Justin with Trade Tech Plugins, and this is the demo video for a Bead Pro Drywall for PlanSwift plugin. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail in the video, but just kind of quickly show you how the plugin works and how quick and easy it is to use. So basically, we've got here just a simple single-family plan with main floor and upper floor. We're going to do a quick drywall takeoff on it with it just to kind of show you how the plugin works. First thing we're going to do is go to our estimating tab and select our location folders. So we got one location folder that we can drag over and then select whatever location we want to assign this material and this takeoff to. So we're going to do first level walls because we're going to take off drywall in the first level and the second level. So we're going to set one up also for first level ceilings, and we'll set one up for second level walls, and then we'll also do one for second level ceiling. So what you would want to do, or the way that this is set up, is you use your estimating tab as where your takeoff is organized. So these folders serve two purposes. They organize your takeoff, and they also any takeoff that's contained within these folders, those materials are going to get assigned to those locations in the reports. So we'll go back to home, and then we're going to go to our Drywall Assemblies, and just real quick, with every plugin we've got two different sets of assemblies. They're both the same, except that one group is takeoff assemblies, the other group is drag and drop. And the reason for that is that this plugin series is designed for all the trades to be able to work together. So let's say you're a drywall contractor, but you also do insulation and paint. If you had the insulation and paint plugins, you could do your takeoff with the Drywall Takeoff assemblies, and then you could drag and drop your insulation and paint right onto that wall takeoff to add those materials to your wall assembly. So you get both with the plugin. You get a set of takeoff assemblies and drag and drop, so you can mix and match any of the trades however you want. You can do your takeoff with whichever trade you want, and then you can drag and drop your additional material on, so it's pretty flexible in that way. Okay, so we're going to start out here. We got to scale the page. So we're going to start out by just doing our quick drywall takeoff on our first floor. So we're going to launch, we're going to use our takeoff assemblies, and we're going to launch our drywall wall assembly. Just real quick, the way this is set up, you've got 4 different board types that you can add to the wall assembly, and within each board type you can select how many layers. And you basically go in, you choose a bid amount per square foot. We'll say 50 cents a square foot for half-inch drywall. We're going to do 1 layer half-inch drywall for the exterior walls. And then you go through and select your board size, your material type. You select your fasteners, and then for each material, you can also select your coverage for those materials as well. So basically what we have programmed into the assembly is just pretty much an industry standard for coverage for screws and nails and drywall tape and joint compound. But if you find that you use less tape or maybe more joint compound, or you want to adjust those coverages, that allows you to really customize your assemblies to exactly the way you work. So you can pretty much customize everything about the plugin. And everything is organized with basically drop-down lists. And anything that, with any drop-down list, what you'll notice at the bottom, it says if what you need is not here, just go to the list and add it. So if you go to your list tab, you'll find a couple different folders of lists that contain all of these items that you can just add whatever you want to add to that list, and now it becomes part of your drop down that you can select from. So we're going to do, and in this wall assembly, you've got 4 different material board types you can add. You've got corner bead you can add, horizontal corner bead if it's a soffit wall. You can add resilient channel. You can add primer surfacer as well. So we're going to set this up. The other quick thing about these assemblies, for each tab as you go through, you'll find that you can basically turn each type of material on or off. There's an on or off switch. So basically what you would do in material type 1, we've got that turned on. Now within that, any item that you go in and select NA, let's say for example you just want to pick up the drywall board but you don't want the finished material. If you go in and select NA, it's just going to not quantify that material. It'll filter it out of your quantities. So you've got a lot of flexibility within, with each type, whether you want, certain materials out of that layer you can select, or if you just, like for example, we're just going to take off 1 layer of 1/2 inch drywall, so all these other board types would just be turned off. And then your corner bead, you can select it, there's NA is selected, which means you don't need any for this particular takeoff. Same way with the resilient channel and the add primer surfacer. So you'll find that most of all the assemblies are set up this way. So we're going to name this assembly exterior wall. Let's see here. Let's get back to our bid form, wall assembly info. We're going to name it exterior wall 1/2 inch drywall, and you can name the assembly whatever you want, just so within that name it should describe to you what the assembly is and what material it contains. The reason for that is that you'll find when you install the plugin and you start to use it, you've got 1 drywall wall assembly, you've got 1 ceiling assembly. But you can duplicate these assemblies and rename them, and then go in and set up the layers of material however you want to set them up inside of your templates, and it'll store those selections under that name. So you could set up as many, you can duplicate these assemblies, rename them, and go in and set them up for different types of walls, material layers. You could set them up for exterior, 1 for interior. You could even preset the wall heights. So it's up to you how you build that library. But of course, as you add to your library of assemblies, it's just going to even make your takeoff time even faster. Okay, so we've named this wall. We're going to go to our material 1 or our board type 1. We've got 50 cents a square foot. It's going to be 1/2 inch drywall, 4x12. Let's say the first level is 10-foot walls. So for layer height, we're going to select 10. How many layers? We just need 1 layer because it's an exterior wall, and basically we're just going to go with the defaults on everything else. Now down here we're going to select, you can see these are our 4 location folders that we set up in the estimating tab. So we're going to select first level walls as our location. Click OK, and we're just going to go through and do our takeoff for our exterior walls. Okay, so we've got our exterior walls taken off. So we're going to go look at our reports just so I can show you how the system works. So basically the plugin's going to come with 3 report layouts, and this material that you're seeing here is what we just took off for the exterior walls. So basically the way these assemblies, the way the system is set up, as you're doing your takeoff, it's calculating the materials in your bid amounts instantly as you're doing your takeoff and populating them in your reports. So the first report is the materials by location. It's basically going to break your takeoff down by location. So you can see The first takeoff that we did, we selected the first level walls folder. So this is showing you, this is the material that it's calculated for that exterior wall we just took off for the first level walls. The second report is a consolidated materials report. So what will happen is as we take off the entire job with all of our different locations, it's going to consolidate all those materials into one list so that you can send out, for material pricing or whatever you need to do with it. And then our bid detail report is going to show us a breakdown of our bid. So this exterior wall that we just took off, and that's what we named it. It's going to show you your takeoff quantity and your bid amount broken down for each takeoff item by location. And then you've got the ability to add a markup percentage when you set up your job. So whatever you want to set that markup to, if you want a markup added to your bid total, you can do that, and then it gives you the bid total. So as you do your takeoff, it's instantly populating everything in your reports. There's no exporting data out of PlanSwift into another spreadsheet or workbook to try to calculate material or labor or bid amounts. It's all done within PlanSwift and instantly in your reports. And it's just as easy as going up and clicking on export to PDF, and it'll print these reports right into PDF just exactly the way it looks here. And you can do the same thing and export to Excel, and it'll print the report into Excel the same way. It'll look exactly the way it does in your report view. And that's pretty much how easy and simple the plugins are to use. Each trade is going to be set up pretty much the same way. So you would just carry on with your takeoff. We'd name this, let's see, we'll name this garage interior wall, and we'll do 1/2 inch drywall, and then 5/8 type X on the garage side. So for that, we'd go to our wall board type 1. It's turned on. We'll do 50 cents a square foot for that. 1/2 inch drywall, 4x12 board. Layer height would be 10 if it's a 10-foot wall, 1 layer. And we're still on our first level wall, so we'll leave that location there. And I'm going to show you this just to show you the flexibility that you have in using these assemblies. So let's say we took off this wall and we added our 1/2 inch on one side, but we forgot to add our 5/8. All you have to do is go back, open up the assembly, go to your wallboard type 2, turn it on. Bid amount, let's do 65 cents a square foot since it's 5/8 type X. We'll go to our material type, select 5/8 type X, 4x12. Layer height would be 10. How many layers is 1? And then just click OK, and it just added that 5/8 material. So you can, even after you do your takeoff, of course, you can get back into your assemblies, make whatever changes you want to make to your materials, and it will either add or take away based on what you select. And then your ceiling assemblies are going to work very similarly. So we'll go ahead and launch our ceiling assembly. You'll find that it's set up pretty much the same way. So we're going to call this 1/2 inch ceilings. We'll go here to add board type 1. It's turned on. We'll say 50 cents a square foot for that. It's going to be 1/2 inch drywall, 4x12 with 1 layer. And now we're going to change our location. Since we set up a folder for first level ceiling, we're going to select that location folder for that. And then we just go in and do our takeoff. The intention behind the design of these plugins, obviously, as you can see, is to very quickly and easily be able to generate detailed material lists and generate your bid for the project. And of course, all of the bid pricing is based on square foot pricing that you would input for each different type of, material layer that you add to the assembly. So we got our 1/2 inch. We're going to add a layer as well. We'll call this 5/8 type X ceiling for the garage. And again, we're back to layer 1. It's turned on. We'll do 65 cents a square foot. We're going to select 5/8 type X drywall, 4x12 in one layer, and we're still in the first level ceiling. Okay, so we just took off our 5/8 type X. All right, so that gets our first level. So if we go back to our reports, you're going to see that if we look at our materials by location, now you'll see the 5/8 type X drywall that we added to our garage wall. So basically, you've got your materials organized by location. So we got our first level walls, our first level ceiling that we took off. We're not going to do the second level just because, it would be the same way. Below that, you'd have second level walls, second level ceiling, and it's just your report's gonna be organized based on however many different levels of folders that you set up and do your takeoff within. So then with your consolidated list, you can see that it's just continuing to consolidate those materials and add the quantities up for you. And then on your bid report, you've got the breakdown of your first level walls. You got your exterior wall with the bid amount, that garage wall with the 2 different types of material. And so what this bid amount does is it totals up your bid amounts per square foot for each different type of material and does that calculation for you. And it's going to break it up by location as well, so you've got a really good breakdown that you can kind of review your bid and make sure everything's right, and then of course your subtotal, your markup, and your bid total. So that's pretty much how the plugins work. They're designed to be very flexible and user-friendly. Pretty much all of the advanced properties and calculations and everything that goes on happens on the back end. So the result is you've got a very easy and a user-friendly way to very quickly generate detailed material lists and a bid for your project.